Okay, so today we're going to learn how to use the curve tool in Microsoft Paint, which is a little bit tricky, but once you know how to do it, it's actually quite simple. So here it is here, I've already clicked on it. It's in the shapes part of the ribbon, and to use the curve tool, it's all to do with 3 click and drags. So I'll give you a demonstration. I click and I drag. That's once, and then twice, and then 3 times, and on the 3rd time you will see this dotted line around the object, and that means that it's finished. So it's all to do with 3 click and drags, or it could be just a click. But the first one is definitely a click and drag, so we click and drag, click and drag till we get it to the shape that we wanted, and finally click and drag the last one, and the 3rd one we get the dotted line around. So just remember that it's 3 click and drags will give us the shape that we want. And as you can see, we've got 2 different shapes. So I'm going to show you how that's happened. We'll start again, and I'm going to count them, click and drag. Now the important thing about this one is that this point here was where we started, and this point here was where we finished. And if I go back to the start, and then I lift the curve up, this is my 2nd click and drag, and then I go to near where the end is, and I lift up that curve again by clicking and dragging. Now remember, that's my 3rd click and drag, so when I let go, you can now see the line. And we've ended up with this nice curved shape. Now the reason I ended up with that curved shape is because the 2nd click and drag I did was near the start of the line, and then the 3rd one was near the end of the line. Okay, I'm going to give you another demonstration. So click and drag, there's the start, there's the finish. I go near the start, I lift, I go near the finish, and I lift, and we end up with that shape. Now I'm going to show you what would happen if we did it the other way around. So I'm going to go click and drag, that's number 1. This time I'm going to start near the end of the drag, and I lift it up, and now I go to near the start and I lift it up, and you can see that because the 2nd one was near the end and the 3rd click and drag was near the start, I've ended up with this shape. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. Click and drag, go near the end and lift, near the start and lift, and we end up with that shape. As opposed to what we did up here, which was here's the start, here's the finish, we go back to the start and lift, and then near the finish and lift, and we end up with a nice curved shape. Okay, I'm going to show you a similar idea, but we're going to drag now in different directions. So as always, it's 3 click and drags. There's our finish, there's our start. I'm going to go near the start, and I'm going to lift, and then near the finish, and I'm not going to go up, I'm going to come down, and we end up with this squiggle shape. Okay, so I'm going to do that again. Near the start, start to finish, go to the start and lift, go to the finish and pull it down to end up with the squiggle shape. And then if we do it round the other way, click and drag, start to finish. This time I'm going to go near the finish and lift, and then near the start and drop it down, and you can see that we've ended up with a much more pronounced curve. So that was by swapping it around. I'll show you again. Oh, we've got a mistake there. Control Z to fix that. click and drag. This time near the finish I'm going to go down, near the start I'm going to go up. Oh, I've actually turned it around there. But that's the process, 3 click and drags, and that's how you use the curve tool, Microsoft Paint. Okay, so in this video we're going to do the butterflies exercise, which is done in Microsoft Paint. So in this exercise what's going to happen is we're going to be painting or creating all these butterflies, and if you have a look closely, these butterflies are actually all exactly the same, but there's a few things about them that make them different, and the reason why we're doing this exercise. So as you can see, they're all different colors. They are different sizes. We've got large ones and small ones. They are flying in different directions. But one of the most important things about these butterflies is that they're actually symmetrical. That means that on this side of the butterfly, it is the same as on this side of the butterfly. And to create all these butterflies and to do this exercise, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to learn a lot of the tools in Microsoft Paint and learn how to use them properly. And this is the key aspect of learning how to use graphics, digital graphics, properly, as opposed to just playing around. So let's get started. Okay, so we need paint. So we'll do a search for paint, and there it is. Open it up. Okay, we can't see our ribbon at the top, so I'm going to right click here and I'm going to untick that, minimize the ribbon, and there we can see we've got all our tools. Okay, so just making sure that our canvas is about the same size of our screen, without any scroll bars down the side or along the bottom. That's about how big we want it. The other thing you want to be making sure is that our zoom level is 100%. That means that what we see is what we're getting. It is not incredibly small or incredibly large. Now, before you start this exercise, you should have already watched the video on how to use the curve tool, which is up here. There's a few tricks involved in that, and you need to have known how to use that to start with. And I'm going to be showing you another little trick with that. So let's get started. Okay, we will, I wonder if we can put this butterfly that we're creating, we'll just have a look at it here. We're going to start with the body, this part in here. We'll be using the ellipse up here to make 2 parts of the body, and then we're going to be creating the wings out here, just one side. We don't need to create the wings out the other side because they're exactly the same, and there's a tool in Paint there which will be able to do that for us. So let's get started. We'll start off with the body. I'm going to use this curve tool. I'm going to make sure my color 1, which is the foreground color, and is black, and the background color is white. Okay, we've got the size being that large, which is a good size, and we'll get started by clicking on our ellipse there, and we're just going to make an ellipse about that big. We don't want it to be too big or too small, so hopefully that's going to be a good size. And what we can do is we can change the fill to be a solid color, and then that means that the inside will be the background color. So to change the background color, we click on color to click on the black, and you can see it's now changed. Okay, so now we're going to do the head of the butterfly, which we want to be perfectly round, about that much. Now here's a trick. If we hold down the I think it's the control key. No, is it the shift key? It's the shift key. If we hold the shift key down, then we'll have a perfectly round circle there. So we'll get it about right. It doesn't need to be spot on in the right place. But while we've got these dotted lines around the circle, I can use my arrow keys to move it around to get it just in the right place, just where I want it. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Possibly a little bit big. I can resize it. Once again, holding my shift key down to make sure it stays in a perfect circle and get it in place. And then when I click away, there we go. Now, the next thing is having a look at our butterfly. Again, we've got little antennas out here. Now, what you're going to see is I'm only going to actually be drawing half this butterfly. I'm not going to draw the other half. So to do the antennas, we're going to need a curve. We'll use the second size. We're just going to go off to the side and go up a little bit. We'll put a little bit of a curve in it, in the antenna, and I think we'll just leave it like that. We could put a tiny wee little dot on the end. There we go. So we'll leave the antenna like that. Now the next thing is to do the wing, which we're going to start off with. I'm going to make it, we'll try this size, we'll keep with this size. Okay, so the wing, we're going to start quite high on the body. It won't be down here or even in the center. It's going to be up near where the head is, and I'm going to go straight out. Now, once again, if we hold the shift key down, then that means that it will go straight out. So even when I bring my cursor down here, or it flicks down to the 45-degree mark, or vertical, but holding my shift key down, it'll make sure that it's straight directly out. Okay, and then we're going to come back, we're going to lift it up and try to get a nice shape on the wing, and I'm going to pull it out. Now what I'm going to do is pull it out so that this part at the end of the wing goes pretty much straight up, vertical. I don't want it like that. I don't want it like that. I want the end of the wing to go up, close to vertical, and then we leave it at that. Now we're going to do the bottom of the wing. Now, we're not going to start right down here. I'm going to start pretty close to where I started before. And then we're going to go and connect it on directly onto the end of the last curve that we used. And then we're going to come down, give the wing a bit of size, and make sure that the join here is looking good. Just move it around till I'm happy with it, and I think that we'll leave it about there. Now, so there's the wing, and if we have a look back at our butterfly, we've got another wing coming in under here, and I've got a little dot there, so I think that we'll go and do that now. So I'll just click away, start about here, go to the end of my wing, which will have it about there, and then pull it down, 3 clicks, remember, into a shape that's hopefully about right. Now we're going to do that little dot, click on the curve, make sure our fill is solid color, we've got both colors black, and I want a perfect circle, so I'm going to hold the shift key down, and that looks not bad, but I don't like the place it's in. We'll just move it up, I think about there. That's pretty good. Okay, having a look back at our butterfly, and we've got a bit of a fluffy occurrence happening down here. We've got a couple of eyes, and we've got these streaks coming off the leading edge of the wing. So we'll try to do that. We'll start off with something nice and simple, with like the eye. Oops, I have made a mistake. So we just click away. Yes, Now we'll change this color to white, and I'm going to actually change color 1 to white as well, and then we're going to have a tiny wee eye in here, won't be very much at all. Maybe we can go just a bit bigger than that. We'll see it there. Might be a bit big. We'll just make a wee tiny eye. That'll do. Okay, we'll change the color 1 back to black, and we're going to make those frilly edge parts. So we'll leave it at that size from the start to the end, and we'll just pull it up so that we're quite close there, and we'll do a couple of those. Let's strengthen up that leading edge a little bit. I think we'll leave it at that. And finally, we're going to make a little bit fluffy piece around the bottom of the body. So we're going to choose the brush, an airbrush. Make sure my color is white. And in this one, I'm going to zoom up a little bit. So it's a little bit larger. I'm going to make my size the largest size, and now that's going to cause a bit of a problem because we have broken the line on that wing. So I will Control Z, and we'll just try a little bit else. I'll just leave it like that, I think. Okay, right, back to our normal size at 100%. And we have pretty much created half our butterfly. Now, this gets easy from here because I'm going to use this selection, rectangle selection, which is up here. And the trick is here to go right down the center of the body. So it may take me a couple of goes to get it right. And we need to be starting above where the antenna is. So we'll try that. Yeah, I might be able to try to do a little bit better than that. No, it's still not right. Still not right. That'll be close enough. Okay, make sure that we include the entire side of the butterfly. And if I hold my Control key down, now that's very important, then what happens is I don't move it, but we actually copy it. So we're moving it over to here, and then we're going to, making sure that it's still selected, I mustn't click away from it, and then we're going to click on Flip Horizontal, and then move it back in place, and that gives us our butterfly. Okay, so now all we need to do now is exactly the same as that, using the selection and holding the Control key down. We've now got two butterflies, and we can use the paint bucket and choose a color. We'll have a yellow butterfly and give him some yellow wings, and we'll have a red butterfly over here. Okay, and then with this butterfly here, I can select right around him. Not sure if we're going to have enough space here. Hold the Control key down. We don't really have enough space. Okay, that's alright. We will Control Z that. Whoops. What happened then? Let's try that red color again, that wing mucked up. Okay, so we're going to select this butterfly. I'm going to move it up further in the corner, and then holding my, no, we will have to get a smaller selection. So there we go, just around the butterfly, holding my finger on the Control key, so that we've got some room down here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize it so that the butterfly is much smaller. Now you want to, before you resize these, you want to colour them in first. Okay, I'm going to then hold my finger on the control gear again a couple more times, and this one here we will rotate to the right, and it slightly changed its proportions, but that's fine. This one here, we'll rotate that to the left, and we'll try to put the proportions back so that he's sort of roughly the way that he was before. This red one we can do the same thing with. Now we have got a bit of a problem. We're going to have to move this butterfly out of the way. We'll drop this one down here. We'll get another colour for our paint bucket. We'll have a bright green butterfly, and then we can resize that one. And there we go, we just carry on like that. So that's our butterflies exercise, and with a little bit more changing things around, we have now got a number of butterflies. They are all symmetrical, they all look the same, yet they are flying in different directions, they are different sizes, and they're different colours, and that's what we are trying to do with this exercise. And in order to do that, we have used and learnt how to use many of the tools that are available here up in Microsoft Paint. And these tools are the difference between painting on a computer, where you do have the tools like Flip, where we can make things symmetrical, Copy, where we can literally we just copy it, as opposed to if we were doing these butterflies with a pencil and paper, you don't have those tools available. So that's one of the big benefits of a computer. And there we go, that's the exercise done. So until we see you guys next time, thank you.